Alright, you guys, so Barcelona have just escaped Vallecas with a point, and it's all thanks to multiple saves from new signing Joan Garcia. Let's talk about it. But first, in case you just see my video for the first time or you have been watching without subscribing, hi friend, hey guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk about football from the La Liga to the Prem to the UCL, and of course I am a Barca fan. So if this is something that you are interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. Let's grow this channel together. I would love to have you. But first, this game 1-1 Barcelona versus Rayo Vallecano in Vallecas, and let me tell you, we are lucky to get away with a point. Even before the game started, we are already seeing the state of the pitch. I know, what does that have to do with anything? It's going to play a big part of how the game shaped up. The pitch was nothing to write home about. The state of it was not the kind of quality that we should be seeing in a top flight La Liga game or at all. It just looked like something that a high school pitch should look like, and it shouldn't even be in a high school. Like, I have never seen a more terrible pitch than what we saw here today in Vallecas. Mind you, we did play in a flooded pitch against Levante last week, so back-to-back performances that we've had to play on nothing to write home about pitch, and these pitches have had a major impact in this game. But anyway, let's go into the lineup that Hansi Flick put out for this game. And there were some major changes, which said to me that Hansi Flick was trying to figure out what is his best starting 11 this season. We did have Joan Garcia in goal, and boy, did have himself a game. Alejandro Balde was in that left back position. Andreas Christensen, this is the first time we are seeing him in the starting lineup this season, and boy, did he have himself a game. Eric Garcia, who was starting out on the right hand side earlier, comes into the center back, partnering with Andreas Christensen. So already we are resting Kubasi and Araujo. We did see Jules Koundé come back into that right back position. If you remember, Jules Koundé has not started a game for Barcelona this season. In the midfield pivot position for Barcelona, it is the ever-present Pedri, and of course coming back into the starting lineup after taking a week off to celebrate the birth of his new kid is Frenkie de Jong. We did see some changes in that attacking lineup. We did see Rafinha, of course, in that favored left-hand position, but in the 10 we did see Dani Olmo, and outright was Lamine Yamal. Leading the line once again for Barcelona was Ferran Torres, and of course we will get to see Robert Lewandowski and Rashford much later in the game, and of course the man of the hour, Fermin Lopez, whose contract situation has been a major talk for much of this week, with Chelsea's interest seeming to not go away. But anywho, like I started out in the introduction, this pitch did not do Barcelona any favors, if at all. I finally understood the meaning of a home advantage, because whereas Barcelona was struggling to play through such a crappy pitch, Rayo Vallecano took full advantage of it. First things first, you have to understand something. The pitch was so small. Like, you could get from one end to the other in a blink of an eye. So there was not enough space for Barcelona to do some of the, crisp passing, tiki-taka stuff that usually defines our game. But secondly, it was the state of it, right? It was so patchy that the ball traveling from one end to the other was doing so at a very, very labored, very, very laggy pace, which was something that Rayo Vallecano took advantage of very, very quickly. And honestly, all of that aside, Rayo Vallecano, they had themselves a game. The way they were able to press Barcelona, I was surprised. Not just pressing them in defense, but also in attack. In games like this, you would tend to expect that the smaller team will want to sit back at home, which is something that I was talking about yesterday in my review against the Mallorca Real Madrid game. And the smaller team will want to sit back and hold the ball, maybe be a little bit more conservative. There was none of that for Rayo Vallecano. They brought the game to Barcelona. They pressed Barcelona, and I saw my team losing the ball like I have never seen them lose the ball before. That first half was nothing to write home about. They were not able to string two passes together, and even when we did, it was not cohesive. I have to give it to Rayo Vallecano. They started very well with intent, and immediately you knew that this was a game that the goalkeeper had to play a major part. And wow, did we sign ourselves a monster in Joan Garcia, because in that first half alone, Rayo Vallecano had themselves at least two one-on-one opportunities where he had to show his quality. And despite being a first-year goalkeeper for Barcelona, he extended himself. He just made himself so big that they couldn't find a way past him. And honestly, I live for it. I was one of those people in the summer that was talking FC Barcelona, please sign Joan Garcia, because I recognized his talent when he was playing last season at Espanyol. I was on TikTok, by the way. If you're not following me on TikTok, missing out on a bunch of content. It is at the Just Max Show on TikTok as well. And I was on TikTok and I was, tagging Barcelona. I was saying sign Joan Garcia, because I know that he has a quality that we need in goal. He has a match-winning quality, and he showed it in that first half. There were so many times in that first half where Rayo Vallecano was breaking that high line with ease. And honestly, all my days, it was ridiculous. It was just one diagonal ball and the line was split. Sometimes the high line did end up doing what it's supposed to do, which is catch them offside, but much of times it was Joan Garcia having to be as big as he can be, having to rush out, having to command the box, having to just be able to come out at the right time to do a sweeper keeper moment. You would recognize that in that first half alone, Rayo Vallecano had 6 corner kicks. 6 corner kicks against Barcelona, and every time that they had a ball in the box, it looked dangerous. But we had a goalkeeper who was commanding the box, who was able to communicate with his defense and set them up the way he wanted them to, who was able to make huge punches, who was able to redirect the ball. And I cannot wax lyrical enough about what we saw from Joan Garcia today, because not for him sparing our blushes, the stories would have been different. I started out in my intro talking about the fact that Barcelona escaped Vallecas with a point. Listen to me, it is not a joke. We were under so much pressure in that first half, but make no mistake, we did have ourselves some opportunities. And I remember on my TikTok, I literally like to drop TikTok notes as the games are going on, and I was screaming. That Rafinha miss when Barcelona was able to finally get upfield, caught the ball with between Lamine Yamal. There was a bit of a miscommunication, although I felt like Lamine Yamal should have taken the shot. There was no need for him to try and pass back to Rafinha. He did end up passing back to Rafinha, and Rafinha totally missed it, and that was one letter for Rayo Vallecano. Barcelona did end up getting the penalty. Many people are going to talk about, oh, is it a penalty, is it not a penalty? Listen, it was all chaotic around this field, okay? Not only was the pitch not very good, but the VAR was also not available. Not that it wasn't available, the VAR was there, but the TV for the referee to go and review whatever was being shown in the match was not working. So when Barcelona had that penalty kick opportunity, again, it was just one of those situations where it was just defined by a very petulant, very stubborn Lamine Yamal, who was dancing and weaving his way in the box. It was... And then he gets pushed down by the Rayo Vallecano player. There was no VAR for him to go review it, but immediately the referee gave a penalty. And listen to me, I was very surprised when Barcelona did get that penalty, because we're not used to getting penalties. It's not something that we do get all the time now. Many people are saying, is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty? For me, it was very much a penalty, because if you look at it from the front end of the camera, the Rayo Vallecano player was very smart in the way he committed the foul. He did not do it with his legs essentially, but what he did, if you look at it from the back camera, he pushed Lamine Yamal with his behind and with his leg in the process of getting in front of him, and it was a foul. A foul is a foul. Could you say it was a soft penalty? Maybe, but it was a penalty. When you could do some of those tackles in the box, you know that you are doing so with the risk that you might commit a foul and it might be called. And on today's occasion, it was called for Barcelona as a foul, and Lamine Yamal steps up, duly dispatches that penalty without even missing a beat. And let me tell you, if the atmosphere was tense before, it was even 10 times hotter after that penalty went in, because Rayo Vallecano players and their fans, they did not agree with that decision that it should have been a penalty, and so the atmosphere was cranked up a bit. And after that, they lost their heads a little bit, but unlike Mallorca in Barcelona's first game this season, I felt like they quickly composed themselves and came back down to earth and started to play their games again. But Barcelona would have one more opportunity in this match before the first half was over, which was that Dani Olmo opportunity where he skied it off the post. And honestly, I know that when they go back home to watch the film from this game, he will be kicking himself in the chin, because he know that was an opportunity where Barcelona could have killed this game, taking it far from Rayo Vallecano, but he did not take the opportunity on today's occasion. He was the winner for Barcelona in this fixture last season, but this season, today, he made a mess out of it. And I will put it on my story notes that, oh my days, Dani Olmo has killed me, because honestly, I was flabbergasted. Barcelona had done all of this work to carve open the Rayo Vallecano defense, which was, by the way, very astute, very disciplined defense. We had done all this work to carve them open. He was right there in front of an open net. He had it right there. All he had to do was take his time and pick his spot. So I don't understand what was the rush. Maybe he did not recognize that he had the amount of time that he ended up having, but it was just so crazy that it was a wasted opportunity from that moment on. And that was kind of the last kick of the first half. Coming into the second half though, the atmosphere, it was still very much as intense as the first half, but if anything, I felt like Barcelona started the game very much strongly. Whatever Hansi Flick said to them in the locker room, it seemed to have taken effect for the first, I want to say, 10 minutes before Rayo Vallecano really begin to assert themselves in this match. And much like the rhythm of the first half, the second half took the same. Barcelona would try to pick a pass. It was Rayo Vallecano who was making those interceptions. Don't get me wrong, Barcelona was also making interceptions, but the rate at which we saw Barcelona's passes being able to be read today was ridiculous. Some may say it was the pitch that had an effect on it, but I would hold the Barcelona players a little bit more responsible, because you are a professional footballer. You should be able to play on any pitch, any surface whatsoever. And of course, after 45 minutes of playing on this thing, you should start to get a feel for how the game is going to go, and they did not do that very well. It was again Joan Garcia who stepped up big for Barcelona in that second half. Multiple one-on-one opportunities. Dare I say, he is probably one of the best goalkeepers in LaLiga for one-on-one opportunities. I cannot wax lyrical about this guy enough. He saved our blushes. What could have been today? Like, there were at least 2 times when Rayo Vallecano had clear goal scoring opportunities, and not for the goalkeeper that we had in the post, it would have been a goal. It would have been. And honestly, I just kept on looking back at the goalkeeper that we had in our post today, and I said to myself, and I'm saying to you, if you're watching this video, answer this question. If it was Ter Stegen in the post today for Barcelona, what do you think would be the scoreline? Because I don't believe it would be 1-1 at all. I think that Barcelona would have at least considered nothing less than 5 goals. I think so. I really do think so. I think that Barcelona would have spectacularly lost this game. I think that the way that oh wow, we have gotten ourselves a generational goalkeeper, a generational talent, a generational machine, and I'm so excited that this man decided to pick our project. Now, mind you, Barcelona will end up conceiving a goal in that second half, and it was just a moment of defensive lapse, because Rayo Vallecano will end up getting a free kick on the 67th minute, and I cannot believe how free Fran Perez for Rayo Vallecano was in that 18-yard box. Nobody picked him up in that corner kick situation. Nobody picked him up, and he had oh my gosh, the way he had the composure to be able to pick his spot, that was exactly what I wanted from Dani Olmo in the first half, which is what he did not give me. But it was a good strike. I cannot fault it. I just cannot. It was a really, really good strike, and on that occasion, there was nothing that Joan Garcia could do. I have to take cognizant. I have to keep reminding you, Joan Garcia had a sensational game. Andreas Christensen had a sensational game. Eric Garcia had a sensational game. They had to make many interventions, but on that one occasion, there was just the defense, they didn't pick him up, and the strike, it was just so clean. It was so clean that there was nothing our goalkeeper could do. And from that moment henceforth, like Rayo Vallecano, they grew in stature, they had more confidence, they felt like they wanted to go and win the game. And honestly, once again, if it was not for the guy we signed this summer, I was watching this game thinking to myself, I need to buy myself a goalkeeper jersey. I have never wanted to buy a goalkeeper jersey as much as I want to buy one now. Why? Because wow, I was so proud of him. And there was a few offsides here and there in between all of this, but he did not know about that. He did not know. He did what he needed to do. He did what he needed to do to make sure that the ball didn't end up in the back of the net. And even when it ended up in the back of the net, thankfully it was called off rightfully for offside. And that also came about because he made a good save, which is they wanted to score. This was not a good game from Barcelona at all. They did not play well. None of the outfield players played to the fullness of their powers. Lewandowski came on. He was not able to impact the game. Rashford did end up coming on for Barcelona. He was not able to impact the game. The only person who had a 5-star performance, the man of the match for me today, it was Joan Garcia. He saved us. And so we leave Rayo Vallecano today with a point that if it was Ter Stegen in that goalpost, we would not have. So we've dropped points. I don't want to get worried because we haven't really won a game comfortably this season. So I don't want to get worried yet, but some alarm bells are starting to sound for me. We barely got past Levante last week. Today we have dropped points against Rayo Vallecano. Now we are officially 2 points behind Real Madrid. But boy, are we lucky to get this point. We are so lucky. But that's all I have to say for this game versus Rayo Vallecano. Thank you to FC Barcelona and to Juan Laporta for signing Joan Garcia, because it could have been embarrassing. Let me know what you thought about this game in the comment section. Who still stood out to you? For me, it was definitely Joan Garcia. What do you think Barcelona could do to improve? Let me know all about your thoughts. How are you feeling after this match? I am so interested in knowing your thoughts. But until next time, wow, thank you. Bye guys.